Doing today? Welcome to my photo editing live stream where you can submit your images and I will edit them here for you live using DxO's Photolab 8. And I didn't get too many images this week, so might be a short stream, but or I can chit chat a little bit towards the end. But let me check in who's here real quick. I see Lassay's here. Good to see you. And Stone Rock and Marshall. Let's see. And let's see, Bert. Oh, Robert's here. Good to see you. And Paul Crisp and Anthony, good morning. I did get a chance to peek at your email about the purple fringing. I'll see if we can address that somewhat with DxO. And okay, so let's just get right into it. Okay, that looks good. And whoops, we will do, let's see. Oh, I didn't put a button here for the chat, but there we go. I need to make a new button. Okay. Let's start here with Garrett. And somebody had emailed me a photo last week, and for the life of me, I can't find it now. So if you emailed a photo, if you could email it again, I'd appreciate that, and I can edit that for you if you're here today. I'll look again here at the end because we don't have too many. Okay, so wow, beautiful hawk here from Garrett. And let's see. I'm going to apply my basic preset. I would just use the demo I made. That's fine. Okay. Let's see if that's doing everything I want it to. Yep. All right. The vertical I kind of like. I may crop it a little bit though. Let me see. Just crop it in so the bird's more near the top of the frame. Maybe just get rid of that snowy part. And this is just a tiny bit underexposed. It looks like you dialed in a +1, but maybe a +2, but it's risky, right? +2. All right, so I'm gonna just try the smart lighting and we'll apply a strong effect there. And that looks pretty good. And from here, I'll just do some local adjustments. I always like to bring up the eyes and the talons on a bird and the beak if it's colorful. But we'll push the eyes a little bit brighter, make them a little bit shiny with contrast and clear view. And we might be able to do the same with the talons like that. And the beak. All right, that's looking better. And I'm going to work on the snow a bit. So let's just brighten the bottom part. Okay. And I think just a simple push on the exposure, a little bit more. And cropping wise, let me see. Maybe give the bird a little bit more towards the top. That looks a little bit too vertical, so I'm going to do a 4x5. Like so. And let's do a quick peek at the detail. Let's give it just a tiny bit more. So I'm going to push. I'm going to just expand it out to 1 pixel, then push the Yeah, that's looking good. Maybe just a little bit more. Just need a little bit more masking there. Okay, let's do a quick export to the original folder. Call it DxO, sRGB, good. And we're all set. So we will compare. Oops, what did that? Compare it against the new output. Let's reset this and do a side by side. So here's my crop. There's the original. And I just want to get rid of this lower bar here. Looks like maybe it's a fence line or something. And then if we punch in and just look at the difference in the detail, I think it did a pretty good job. Yeah. So there's the after. So wow, we could have easily dialed in. I think you could have easily dialed in 3 stops of exposure comp, but like I said, it's always kind of risky, right? When you start dialing in exposure comp. Uh, but okay, very good. And let's go to the next one. I think this is Anthony is trying to demonstrate something here. I'm not sure. I didn't read the email. I just saw it came in and I peeked at it. But let's see what we can do with your duck picture. And first I'm going to, oh, I didn't download the optical corrections for the hawk. It would have came out even maybe a little better. All right, let's take that, apply basic preset here. And I think what I'll do is I'll just get rid of this duck on the left and crop in right here. And maybe do another 4x5. I'd like to keep most of the water in there. Well, let's go to a 1x1. Okay, that works for me. And let's just do a subtle smart lighting. Didn't really do much there, so I'm going to turn that off. Just going to push the shadows a tiny bit on the global side. Slight pull on the highlights. All right, let's do some local adjustments. So I'm going to start with the eye. And just quickly do some contrast and clear view. That looks good. See what we get on the beak here. And we don't have much in the way of talons, but there's a little bit there. And I think I'll just add a tiny bit more light on the feathers in here. Like that. And push it a tiny bit on the colors. And I think I will, let me just get the loop out and see how this is looking. Because this is a JPEG, so if I had the raw image, I could get much better results because DxO, it demosaics from raw. When it's working with a JPEG, it has to apply sort of these more superficial sort of changes. If I hit the auto, it's not, I need to pull this in, and I'm going to push this a little bit. About 1 pixel there. Okay. And let's make the water just a little bit glossier. Give the water a little more contrast. Do the same up here. Okay, so I didn't have a lot of wiggle room with the JPEG image, and it doesn't really apply sharpening at the raw level, which really makes a big difference with DxO. Otherwise, I have to work with these more crude, unsharp mask type tools. So I'm just going to push this. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to push this just a tiny bit. Okay. Let's just do a quick before and after. So essentially what it looks like is I just warmed it up a tiny bit by using contrast this time for the most part, by crushing sort of the darker blues using the clear view and the black slider. Uh, and the clear view also pushed the yellows out a little bit more. So I think that looks pretty good. And cropping in, let's see, I really wasn't able to squeeze out too much more detail. And mostly because this is a JPEG. But it's very, very subtle. A little more color green in here I like. Okay, so let's zoom back out and look at those side by side. Okay, that looks good. And let's go with, oh, that's my picture. Let's go with one from here, John Follows. All right, we have a tree. A nice glow here coming in from the right side. See if I can accentuate that. And maybe the color down here of these dried up leaves. Because this reddish color is a nice contrast with the green, right? So let's try that. And there's a little bit of red back here. So we'll apply basic preset, and compositionally, there's not much I can do unless I think of something creative. Let me try something. What if I just came in very tight? Of course, now we're seeing this fence line in the back, which I'm not crazy about. I kind of like this better. It simplifies the scene a little bit. So I'm going to go with this. And I'll just use the red that's back in here. So let me punch up this red a little bit. And I'm going to tighten up the chroma mask. Let's see if I can just bring that out a little more. Let's do it using the orange. We'll stretch this out. It's fine. Okay. And then I will I'm going to try this tool. I haven't used this tool very much. This is the what do they call it? They call it a hue mask. What I want to do is take these greens and maybe shift them a little bit warmer. And bring the highlights in. Okay. And then let's try the Luma mask. These darker colors, I think I will just see if I can bring them up a little bit. And we'll shift those more to the reds. Like that. And then pull the color just a tiny bit. So, yeah, I don't use this tool very much, but I thought I'd give it a try on this tree. Dang it, I can't. Let me try one more time. So we're going to tighten this up a bit. And what I want to do is just desaturate sort of the lighter parts. And gives them a little more brightness. Mm, okay, I think that's all I want to do there. And then I'm going to pull these bright spots in. Okay, let me see where I'm at here. A little bit more monochromatic. Well, not really. Not sure I'm happy with this composition though. If I come back down, yeah, I like that a little better. And let me fix my control point. Okay. Then let's do a new one. Okay. 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 See if I can just exaggerate those leaves. That's what I was thinking about originally. Okay, and then I think on a global scale, we'll give it some micro contrast. I love trees, but they are the hardest thing to edit. I'm missing something here. Okay. And then overall, I want to, all right, I'm going to call it there. Maybe not. Hold on. Hmm. Yeah, I think I'll call it there. I'm just not quite happy with some of the things in here. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll call it there. Okay. So on this image, I just wasn't crazy about this tree right here. So, up here in the upper left corner, that was bothering me. So I cropped in to get rid of that, but I wanted to keep sort of the reds in the foreground and a little bit in the background to kind of pseudo frame the tree trunk a little bit, I guess. I don't know. And then just warm up the image overall because there's so much green in here, and I think it's creating a green cast, which was just a little too strong for me. Um, so putting a lot of reds back in and making it warmer, I think that looks better. Okay, let's see. Looks like we got one more, and I'll check my email, Anthony. If you said you may have emailed the raw. So an all-in-one with a Lumix lens on it. Interesting. Okay. What do we get here? F8, 46 millimeters. Oh, let me apply standard preset. I'm trying to find composition that I like here. So I'm going to come in a lot tighter. I'm going to get rid of this pink house and this foreground. Let's see. I'd have to do a 3x2. Maybe I can brush out a little bit in there. Okay, I think that's a little tighter composition. And then from here, let me just get rid of some of this brownish color or mitigate this somewhat. Right in there. And let's do a normal gradient this time. And see if I can saturate or add some vibrancy to the colors that are there. Okay. like that. And we'll just pull back on some of the I'll pull back on this roof a little bit. Push the yellows. Oh, this pink house is bothering me. It's not that I don't like pink. I'm gonna have to think of a way maybe to incorporate that. Might have to leave that in there. Frame it that way. Okay. And I'm just gonna go in here to the windows. Give them a little more detail. No, that one's not gonna work. Gosh, very, very soft image. I mean, contrast-wise, the light is so diffused. Just warm it up a little. Don't think there's anything in the sky here, but let's see if there is anything in there. Nope. Oh, there's a little bit in there. Okay. Let's do it this way. And we need to cool it off a bit there. And let's tighten up the Luma mask. There we go. Needs a little bit of grit here. About there. Okay, color-wise, let me go back to this. Oh, you know, I forgot to apply. I guess it's straight enough. It looks just a little bit off. It's okay. And I want to bring out, is this a new? No, it's not new. Hold on. Plus. I'm going to kind of bring out some of this wood in here. I guess these are birds. I'll leave those there. Okay, I think we're good. So let me export this one. Yep, that looks good. Yeah, Paul, isn't that the way it is? It was clouded over, and then 10 minutes earlier, it was like all, yeah, I had that, whoops, I had that same day at Conowingo Dam. It was like beautiful sunshine, and then it got cloudy. All right, so I think, yeah, I think the 3x2 crop works a little better. And I'm surprised I was able to bring anything back in the clouds, but that looks okay. Because this image over here, it's just so flat because of the clouding. And I wanted to bring the colors back and bring a little warmth back. And with respect to detail, if you punch in, um, yeah, this is definitely much crisper. Like look at the window here, how soft everything was. That's because I went in and I edited those directly. I was like, whenever I do architectural, I like to make the windows look, excuse me, pop as much as possible. So I think that looks good. And then the other area I wanted to emphasize was sort of oh, this is concrete barrier with wood mixed in. I wanted to kind of emphasize that as well. And I think DxO did a great job bringing the detail in. And this is a good example of the difference between processing a RAW and processing a JPEG with DxO being able to bring detail back in. So that looks really good now. Uh, looking at it on my monitor directly, I think it looks a lot better now. Okay, and let's see if I can do a full screen. Oops, this is the full screen. So that's the before, that's the after. Okay, all right, so let me go to, looks like, I mean, I only had 3 pictures to edit, so let me go into, where's my window? Let me go in and see if anything else came in briefly. Oh, wow, a bunch of stuff came in. All right, so one from Jeff Painter, one from Robert, and one from, can't see the name yet. Okay, they're coming. It's almost there. One more to download, looks like, from William. Save. And this one is a JPEG. And let me check my email real quick. Okay, nothing there. One from Gary sent. Not sure the photo is attached. I can go to my PC and send it again if needed. So, oh, okay, Gary. Okay, I see you now. Let me find the attachment. Where is it? Okay, Gary, I got your photo now. Thanks for sending me another message. It helped me to find it very quickly. So the cemetery looks like. Okay, I'm gonna put this into the right folder. Other streams. All right. And I don't see anything from Anthony in terms of getting another raw image, but if you want to try and email it to me or upload it, I'll look for it again. Okay, let's go back to this and I'll close that window. All right. So here's one. Oh, have the Orion here. And what is this? Is a JPEG, so I'm not going to have much room on this, but we'll try. Just do a basic preset. Just crop in a little bit. I may crop in more depending on how much I can bring back up here and down here. There's no noise, so this must be a stacked image. Okay, yeah, it's definitely stacked. You're not going to gather that much light. But because it's a JPEG, I don't have any flexibility here. This might be a good chance to try that luminosity mask again. Let's go. Let's try. That's what I want to do. Is make a very, very tight mask on just the blacks. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, getting there. Once I get the hang of using these two tools, because these are new in Photolab 8, I think once I get the hang of using these, I'm going to get some pretty cool, get some really good results here. Let me, oh, I'm going to push. Wow. How many lights did you gather on this? This has really got a lot of, you captured a lot of the clouding here. Okay, perfect. And then let's do another luminosity mask, but this time I'm going to do it just on the clouding. And crank up the colors. We need to shift them a little bit. It's a little bit warm. Uh, right there. Right there. Give it some more detail. All right, that's good. Now let's cool off the image. Just a tiny bit there. That's exaggerated a little bit, but put a little bit there. And let me fix this masking a little bit here. This one, or is it this one? Because it has just a little bit too much gaseous area. All right. See if we can bring out a little bit in here. And a little bit more saturation. Okay. And then just clean up the edges a tiny bit. Maybe not that corner, maybe more in here. Something's off with the color here. It really needs to be more. I don't know if I can shift it. Just a tiny bit. Hmm. Okay, let me see where I'm at. Okay. Oh, what happened? Luminosity. Oh, how did I mess that up? Oh, man. All right. We're almost there. So just a little bit more pull here. A bit push there. And a little bit cooler. All right. Yeah, purplish is, yeah, I agree. The purplish is kind of the most. I was trying to push it a little bit with right in here, but I can't get. Let me see if I can push it this way. Yeah, that's pretty close. And then we'll do, these are greens. See if we can push those a little bluer. This is why I use Cyril and do the color alignment with whatever database there is out there. Then I don't have to worry about the colors when I'm doing my own astro stuff. But okay, cool. I think I'll leave it here. I'm not really happy with the gradation I'm getting in the sky, but it's not too bad. And if we, I don't know if I can do, so there's before, as you can see, it's very low contrast and some of the details being hid by the contrast. So it looks a little over processed to me, but again, I'm working with a JPEG, so this is probably the best I can do. I think because it's JPEG, that's why I'm having a hard time with these very subtle gradations that you would normally see here in the clouds. But I think that came out pretty good. That's beautiful image. Never get tired of looking at Orion. All right. Thanks for sending that one. And let's see. There's another one here. Okay, this one's from Jeff, I think, right? Yeah, Jeff Painter. Okay. Let me just apply basic preset. Wow, this is a hard one. I think I'm going to go black and white. And I'm going to crop in. Maybe really tight. I know we're kind of missing the whole dollhouse story thing here, but if I do that, get a little more headroom up here. Okay, we're almost there. It's a little bit more over. Let me see. Slight correction there. Okay, that works for me. All right, let's go to some of the tones in here. Okay. This needs, oh, turn this off. Give me a second. Why? Oh, this show mask thing is stuck. There we go. Just a little bit in there. No. Push this. Okay. All right, and if I do, instead of using the film pack, let me try. Actually, that color looks good now. I think I'll leave it in color. But I'm going to shift it a little bit. Like that. Over here, push the midtones again. Highlights. Okay, I'm going to call it there. We'll export that. And let's see. So, yeah, I think I like that composition, the composition I did better. I mean, yeah, this is in focus, but it's very distracting to the scene. I really wanted to capture her face and her face, and then just sort of add a little bit of lighting uh, effect onto her dress, and then just a slight sepia tone to give it a little more vintage look. I mean, you can kind of get carried away with vintage looks, so uh, but I think that works the way it is. So if we do a full screen, so that's my edit. That's the original. Let me zoom. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm not even doing the thing here. Yeah, I think that looks good. Oops, sorry. Sorry. Let me just do a side by side. So here's the original on the right. This is my edit on the left. I think that came out good. And if we punch in, you can see a lot of the detail now. How much crisper and how she comes out more in the mirror. So I punch in on these because it's hard for you guys to see in a stream because of all the compression. So I'm just zooming in so you can kind of get an idea of what I was trying to do. Is I really wanted to bring out the face here to make it much clearer. And then this person over here, uh, I like the kind of the highlights on her dress here because they're just kind of very flat over here. So I wanted to bring that out. I wanted to bring out a little bit down in here as well, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. But I would spend more time on the dress here, and then that's probably about it. Okay, so yeah, I think that looks pretty good. All right. Okay, we have another one here. Gosh, this looks familiar, Shri. This is a Scott's Run, isn't it? Or Robert. Robert, I'm sorry, Robert. Yeah, this is Scott's Run. I've been there a few times. Very smelly there, I think. Wow, it's pretty dried up though. This is normally a nice flowing waterfall. How come I'm not in editing mode? Apply preset. Okay, so we have a nice glow here in the background. I want to bring some of that forward. And then this leaf line here. So we have a diagonal here and a little bit of framing. All right, this image needs a lot of work. So I got my preset in. Let's see if I can just come in right here. Okay. And I want some more light down here. Make that a little warmer. That. Yeah, do that one separately. Okay, let's go into the water here. Make that nice and shiny. Okay. Maybe cool it off a tiny bit. Where were we? 58. Let's go to that. And we'll pull the blacks in even more. Okay. Oops. Then let's do I want to bring out some of these browns and yellows. Tighten up the chroma mask. Okay, got that one. This one. This one. Right in here. Okay, good. Okay. Oh, so it wasn't smelly. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It is dry. Too much there. Okay. This one is a bit too much there. Yeah, that's not going to work. We'll do that one separate. Okay. I need a little bit in here. Okay. This needs a little bit more. There's a lot of leaves in here. Dang it, this one's too strong. All right, good. And then just a little bit more. Let's do the rocks a little bit. Okay. And now let's go into the back. Okay. Oops, a bit there. Maybe a slight shift. Red, and then all of these, a slight shift this way. Okay, now let's do the waterfall. And we're almost done. Tighten up that mask. And there. Okay, one more thing. No, that's not going to work. We'll just use a brush, very small brush. Okay. What's that do there? Oh, that's not bad. We'll put a little bit in here too. A little bit there. this size. Okay. This one we're going to pull. All right, I'm going to call it there. Okay. So let's export that one. And we'll reset it and we'll take a closer look. Oh, it's a little bit crispy here. I need to soften that up, but yeah, this is a little bit too strong. Hold on. That's just the local brush that I used, I think. Just a little bit there. A little bit tighter crop. Still a little bit crispy, but that's all right. We'll give that a second to export. All right, so yeah, I think that looks better. Let's do this full screen. So that's the before, very nice scene, right? And then there's the after. So let me zoom in a little bit. And, you know, I just wanted to bring the light back here, make it a little stronger so you can see the trees. And then all of the fall leaves up here that are still left. And of course, you know, minimize the water, cool it off, and then add a little bit of lighting on the rocks that are sort of more forward. And then the rocks that are back here in the background, a little bit cooler. So a little brighter and warmer in the front, a little cooler back here. So I think that came out nice. Okay. All right, finally. One here from Gary. I know he's been waiting about 2 weeks for this edit. Let's see. Interesting. It's a very different angle than most people do when they do Stonehenge and stuff. Let me apply a preset. Let me just skim. Thinking a black and white would look good. Let's just start with the color. Just do an optical correction. Do black and white. We have here. And go a little bit gritty. Just a slight tilt. Okay. Let's see if the Luma mask gives me any help here. No. It's a little bit too tight in here, so I'm going to do it with just a control point. Okay. A little bit there, maybe a tiny bit more in here. This one needs to be smaller. Smaller. Okay. Hmm. Okay. I should have thought about the composition first. What I'm trying to do. Let's see this brush. Yeah, it's not working. Hmm. No. All right, I'm going to go with that. Let's see. For me, on the composition, this is the hardest part for me. Everything else, the editing is kind of subjective, right? But um, I think I like the contrast of the trees and the shadows coming in this way, and just the spot of trees here in the background all along this horizon. But I went with a vertical because all of the headstones here are vertical, and I just felt like it just felt better to me if everything is vertical, including the framing. Somehow this didn't work for me, this horizontal, because it's not really a landscape shot, so to speak. So I would say I think the vertical works better. And then, yeah, I think that's what I would do. So if we just kind of look at it on its own here, yeah, this composition feels a little bit more fluid, right? Because you don't have, everything's kind of vertical, so your eyes just kind of walk, just kind of walk from bottom to top without any obstruction. There's no barriers versus, the original, it's just this being kind of a wider shot than taller. Every time you kind of go across, you hit a headstone when you go from left to right. It's like stop, 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 stop. But when you do it this way, I think your eyes tend to start at the bottom. And yeah, there's a couple lines in here, but generally speaking, I feel like, I don't know, this feels like it flows a little better for me. All right. Well, that was a fun edit, Gary. Thanks for sending that. And I appreciate everyone sending all their edits in, or images for me to edit. It's always a challenge for me and makes me think hard because you guys, every photographer takes pictures differently with a different vision and sees things differently. So when I get a picture from you guys, it it's totally different than how I would have taken a picture of that scene. So it makes me think and work harder to look for the compositions and look for what you were trying to do. Um, and then of course put my own spin on it overall. So, any changes I make to the edits here, I'm not being critical at all. I'm just doing my best to interpret it in my own style and give a little feedback on why I went that direction. But there's no right or wrong, is what I'm trying to say. So that's why I enjoy doing these edits because I probably would have not framed or taken the picture the same way on the scene. But as with all of them, I would have done something very different probably. Okay, let's see. So I gave you guys my image to edit. This is the original photo I took for you guys to edit of mine, and I'm just eyeballing the thumbnails. They look pretty cool. And this is kind of Wingo Dam. As you can see, there's a boatload of photographers here taking pictures of seagulls because there weren't any eagles hardly that day. But it's a little bit crooked, and you know, this image needs a lot of work, but I think it has a lot of potential. I edit this myself, and I didn't like what I came up with, so I thought I'd give you guys a shot because I feel like this would be a really interesting image to edit. So going in, let's see what we got here. This one is from Marcel. Wow, I love this. Lots of good light painting. This is great. This is definitely a very yeah, this is a great edit. Thanks, Marcel. I like it. And Garrett, all right. Very nice, clean and crisp edit. I like it. It's tough to get the perspective straight. I'll see if I can find my edit. My edit's terrible. But yeah, this is a nice crisp edit. You really brought out the details in the scene. Um, and then one here from Paul. Ooh, wow, this one's extra crispy. Lots of blues in this one. This is actually pretty similar to how I think I edit mine. Um, yeah, I brought the windows out like you did here. I made the water uh, very reflective. And I don't think I went quite as punchy on the contrast in here. I don't remember what I did, but yeah, this image has a little more coherency, I think, than my own edit in terms of, you know, the feel. So yeah, it looks good. Let's see, this one looks like ah, this has a little AI in it. I love it. Look at all the neon and everything. That is so cool. This could easily be like in a sci-fi movie or something, like an alternate reality, the the multi-universe or whatever. This could be like a different Earth. Easily a different Earth, because all the elements are there. There's nothing unfamiliar individually, right, about in this image, you know, because we have dinosaur eggs, we got neon lights. These things all exist in our own world. But then when you put them together in a different way, right? This could be an alternate multiverse image. I like it. And oh wow, nice tight crop here, Shri. It got rid of that sort of wonkiness of the perspective that I was having by focusing here on the elements, and I like it. I like the strong pillars. Really emphasizes sort of the excuse me. I like these pillars back here. They really come forward now. I think in the other images they were just kind of in the background, but these really bring them up nice and close. And let's see. Okay, so that's all that was sent in. I think I'll show you mine. Mine was not, I think it's on my Flickr page. I think. Yeah, this was my edit. Just like meh. So I'm a little bit less crispy than what Paul did, but I think Paul and I did the most similar edit. But yeah, all I did basically with mine is I brought the windows and straightened the lines and then tried to make the water shiny, but I just eh, see how many likes it got. Ah, 4. Okay. That's fine. I think what you guys did, I think what I like this 16 by 9 crop. I have to say this is probably my favorite. I love it. I'm a big sci-fi fan, in case you guys didn't know. But this one by Paul, I see what you did with the windows here. If you look at mine, I did a very similar thing. I brought the windows in. So, but you want a little bit crispier everywhere else. And then yep, that's Marcel's. This is a second one from Marcel without all the light painting. Okay. Let me look at, where's my original? Yeah, all right. So this has a very brownish tone to it, which I like. Huh. It's interesting because this is kind of more of a just blah, you know? It's interesting. And then the light painting, of course. And you carry that brownish tone, throughout the and drop the contrast way down. So this kind of edit's always interesting. It gained some popularity, I think, because I've seen a lot of images kind of edited this way. But what's a little bit different here is, we still have good contrast because these lights, the highlights are clipped completely to white. And then you have things down here, not quite black, right? So they're not clipped to black, but all the detail is gone. They're kind of clipped to a very dark gray. So, all right. Let's see how you guys are doing. So yeah, you're going for the sci-fi look. Yeah, definitely. I like it. I think that was my favorite. And always enjoy your perspective. Oh, thank you, Paul. I try. And I'm finding ideas by watching how others edit. Yeah, me too. I'm finding ideas in composition and framing when I look at your images and subjects, right? Because sometimes you'll take a picture of something I wouldn't give a second glance to, and then it's actually pretty interesting. And nice job on the dollhouse. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. And Robert says, very nice edit. Thanks. I try. I would probably go back and do some more on it though. Yours was the waterfall. I was I'm not quite happy with that edit that I did, but not bad. And David is here. Oh my goodness. Um, you guys are kind of going between each other here. And David Brown says only 22 likes so far. Oh, I appreciate that. And no, it doesn't work with Fits Raw as far as I know. I'd have to convert them to like a 32-bit TIFF. Uh, so if you send me a Fits Raw, I can convert it, or you can convert it before you send it to me, but I can convert it here to a 32-bit TIFF, right? And let's see. So you said you took about 1.5 hours of 10. Wow. 10 seconds of pop. So you weren't using a tracker, but that's cool. I assume you weren't using a tracker because of the short exposure time. You need to get a tracker, man. It's the best. I mean, it just adds a whole nother level of complexity to it, it's all about the journey though, right? Um, Gmail only supports 25 max. Oh, that's right. So maybe, yeah, try and upload it, I think. I don't think I put a limit on the upload. If that doesn't work, just send me a link to your drive folder, right? If you have any kind of cloud storage. If you want to send me an image that's bigger than you can get uploaded to either my site or through email, just email me with a link and I can do it that way. But just remind me when you come into the stream because sometimes, I get so many emails, it gets lost in there sometimes. And let's see. Paul says, my travel kit is Now the Ollie 7 to 14 and Pana 14 to 140. Took it to Edinburgh this weekend, and I was going into London tomorrow to shoot the Christmas lights. Yeah, you know, that 14 to 140, I think that's the image that you submitted. Uh, it's pretty sharp, as you can see, you know, using DxO at least. I was able to pull out a lot of detail from that image. So that looks like a decent lens. I wouldn't complain at all if I was, if you know, because I always push the 40 to 150 from Olympus, but that Panasonic looks good. Oh, the Gmail thing set up. Yeah, I think you can't change that. When you export from DxO, it's always going to export. I think you can export it as a DNG though. So maybe try that. Try exporting as a DNG instead of JPEG if you want to send it through Gmail through DxO. I think you can do it that way. And Stonecrook says, I have to admit, I'm not obsessed by a little noise in my photos, but I would love to see software that can do more with JPEGs than currently available. I know. I think Topaz is probably the best at working with JPEGs in terms of workflow. Um, I don't know if it gives the best results, meaning I don't know. It may give the best results. But I've been able to do pretty good with DxO, but yeah, it's not. I think Topaz probably does better with JPEGs because DxO is designed as a raw editor, and it's just not going to work too well as a JPEG editor in terms of denoising. You know, do everything else, but denoising a JPEG, it's not its strong suite. Uh, and Marsha says, "Wow, that is sharp." Okay, I don't know what picture I was editing there, but um, thank you. Or I agree. I don't know. I don't know the context of that statement. All right. One of them looks like they have some purple fringing. It's near the water line on the duck's feathers, up to 5 purple dots. I'll look at the image in your email and respond there. I didn't really get a close look at it here. And Arena's here. Good to see you. And Marshall says, I'd like to know about the new features and whether the workflow is any different, especially whether local adjustments are any different. So between Photolab 7 and Photolab 8, the workflow is very, very similar. Uh, they did add, you know, the luminosity, and they added a couple of tools, but the workflow with the control points, the control lines, you know, and all of that stuff is exactly the same from 7 to 8. Between Photolab 6 and 7, that's where there was a big change in working with control points and things. So if you're still here, sorry I didn't get to your question sooner, but that is the answer. Uh, Between 6 and 7, there was a nice jump in workflow. I like it much better. And between 7 and 8, the workflow is pretty identical. They just added some more tools and another feature that should have been in there since Photolab 1, which is where you can compare images side by side. Uh, but yeah, that's the answer to that question. And Paul says, I'm still using Photolab 7 and I will wait for version 9 before I upgrade. Every 2 seems to be more appropriate. Most of the time, right? Uh, and I think I would agree. Like I said, and you've probably heard before, I think Photolab 8 is great if you're a heavy user, like daily in and out using it. The workflow and the speed is better. But if you're editing images like on the weekend and occasionally during the week, and you're happy with the results you're getting, there's no need to go to Photolab 8, uh, in my opinion. Photolab 7 was great when I was using it. And Marshall says, the bug was if you overlay watermark and you downscale the image, the watermark comes in very jaggedy. You have to output at full res and then downscale, but they fixed it now and it's smooth. Oh, okay, good. I never use watermarks because for my professional work, when I have to put a watermark for my client's logo or something into the images, I use Photoshop, and I pre-process using DxO, for the denoising and perspectives and all of that. But uh, yeah, all that other stuff, if it's more graphical type things, I use Photoshop. Yeah, support was very slow. So you reported in version 6, support was very, yeah, like I said, comparing images side by side, that should have been out with Photolab 1, version 1. Everybody's been doing that forever. I don't know why that wasn't just a standard feature. And Stone Rock says, I still use DxO6 myself, and based on what I've read, it probably isn't worth upgrading yet. So, yeah, I mean, if you're happy with your current photo editor, whatever that might be, why upgrade, right? But if you're unhappy, if you want more capability in a certain area, like denoising, for example, um, then Photolab 8 is the very best right now on high ISO images. On lower ISO images, like 6400 and lower, it's very hard to tell the difference. It's only when you go really high, then you can see, yeah, Photolab 8 is doing a better job. And it's squeezing out a tiny bit more. But these are very, very subtle. Photolab 6 is, I would say, the core, sort of the minimum Photolab I would recommend at this point. Not that you can buy Photolab 6 anymore, but if you're on Photolab 5 or older, you definitely need to upgrade. No question. If you're on 6 or 7, then it's a little bit more nuance in a decision to upgrade there, right? But I would say from 6 to 8 wouldn't be a bad jump. But if you go to 9, it's even better, right? If you can go from 6 to 9, because Photolab 6 still gives you excellent results. It's very good at denoising, just as good as 7, in my opinion, and almost as good as 8 for 99% of the images. And then the workflow is a little easier for me when they went to Photolab 7, but the workflow wasn't that bad in Photolab 6, right? It was pretty similar. So it's kind of a nuanced thing. But the main thing in Photolab 6 was, I think that's when they had the D prime XD2. Well, there was an improvement in the noise reduction, definitely in Photolab 6. There was also some workflow improvements, and then primarily it's the color space that Photolab 6 uses, the wide gamut. That was a huge deal going to Photolab 6. So that for those things, I would say if you're on Photolab 5, you need to upgrade. I don't see any reason to wait for Photolab 9. If you're on 5, I would upgrade now, and you'll see a definite improvement in workflow, in speed of processing, in your colors and the details that you get, the denoising, everything. So uh, I don't think you can actually buy Photolab 8 right now as an upgrade if you're on Photolab 5 or older. You have to buy brand new, if I remember correctly. But try it. Maybe they'll let you upgrade from Photolab 5 to 8. But if you're on 5, you need to upgrade. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. And yeah, I'm way back to the top. Let me go back to the bottom here. And William says, uploading your image with my edit. Oh, okay. I'll take a look. Oh, a C-Star S50 track. Oh, so you're using telescope. All right. That explains it. We're using, I'm not that familiar with C-Star, but let me see. Yeah, C-Star S50. So yeah, you're using a telescope. Okay. Uh, Worth bearing in mind, the upgrade option with reduced cost only works for 2 versions. Okay, so yeah, so that I think Paul is remembering the same thing I am, is that you have to have 6 or 7 to upgrade to 8. Otherwise, you pay full price. So let me take a look at if this came in, what came in, and then we'll call it. Go to the right page. Oh, there's another image came in to edit. I'll have to do that one next week. From Bert. Looks Berthold or Berthold. Let me download it, Berthold. It's just one image. I can do one more. I'm not doing anything else today. Let's see, download. Okay, so I got your image. And take a look at, oh, okay, William. So, yeah, this is very similar to, I think it was Shri. Shri's edit. Oh, this feels cold, though. Believe it or not, it wasn't that cold, but everybody bundled up just in case, I think. You kind of have to, right? But yeah, this feels cold. Except this time, you kind of kept... Okay. I like it, though. Nice, cool edit. And that's what I mean. You can get so many different looks depending on who's looking at your picture, right? Or a scene. You guys, if you guys had your own editing live stream, your edits, it would be interesting to see what you guys do, right? That's why I give you my image to edit. Because it's always interesting to see how different people see the same scene. Okay, let me see. I think Berthold sent one in. If you're still here, I'll be happy to edit it. Well, I'll do it anyway. Okay, let's apply basic preset, and I'm just gonna do probably a square crop would work. And get rid of this flower in the background. Oh, come in a little tighter. And what we need to do is brighten this up. So let's push everything here. Bring some of the contrast back in. Maybe even sharpen it a tad, like so. And then let's work on these yellows right in here. And greens, why not? Just give them a little push, like so. And I think from here, we just need to fix the background a little. So let me get rid of this bright spot. And just grab from over here. And then we'll just darken the rest of this. I don't know if I like this bokeh here, but okay. Okay. Maybe from over here. That's better. Hmm. Oh man, I was doing all this editing and I didn't have the screen on. I'm sorry, guys. Here's the original over here. Here's what I'm working on. Uh, Sorry about that. Okay, so let's see. Um, I'd like to tilt this a little bit, but I've already put all my edits in. Yeah, that's not helping. But let me see my composition. Maybe I can come in a little bit more. Then we just need to. Okay, I'm gonna call it there. So let me export this. Did that export? Okay, reset. All right, so here's the original on the right, and that's my edit there on the left. So just a nice tight crop, basically, and then brightening up the flower. So that's the before, and that's the after. I just felt like this side was a little bit distracting because it's cut off anyway. So just getting in right here in the center and bringing the light forward and the background a little bit darker. I think that works. All right, and then I don't know if you guys saw, it was this one. I don't know when I stopped showing the screen, but this was the other edit I was talking about from Willem, uh, about being a nice, cool sort of edit, and all the things I said before. This was the image in case I wasn't showing it before. Okay, everyone, we'll call it here. So I'm actually going to do another editing live stream this coming Friday because I missed last Friday. So today is kind of making up for missing last week because of the holiday. So I'll probably do another photo editing session this Friday, and I'll have the link up maybe tonight or tomorrow. But you can always use the link that's in this video to submit your images. And again, if it doesn't work, you can always email me, rob@robtrek.com, and either send me a link to the download that I can download, or try and attach the image. And always try to send me a raw if you can, so I have the best file to work with and the flexibility that I need. So, you guys, thanks so much for being here. Happy holidays, happy shopping. I'm gonna do another shopping live stream probably before Friday because it's just so many deals out there. Even though Cyber Monday's gone, I found a few more good deals today. So visit my deals page. Uh, because all your purchases help support the editing that I do here. Or you can become a member. I have a 99-cent membership, or you can just buy me a coffee. Either way, I think all those links are down below. But thanks again for submitting your images. I always enjoy seeing and editing them. And I will see you guys probably again Friday, if not sooner.